This is built by you. My name is Anna, and I'm really, really actually happy to see you all. Feel free to ask any questions. So, the first part is a little part about myself. I've been working in tech for around a decade and around 3 years as Gen AI came into our life and the AI revolution started. I used it as a product person in a startup, and everything went so fast. And at this point, I realized that anything that I was envisioning for my own startup could really be implemented, and that's kind of magic. And this is when I got really curious. And this is my sort of way of transferring all this knowledge, perspective, and this is completely, I would say, like this, there is some authorship in this course. This is my view of how I see the domain. In the beginning, we will talk a little about housekeeping, about how the course will go, about why actually the builder mindset matters today, a little bit about AI, what I think matters the most, like privacy these days, because agents are really cool, but very not safe, I would say, and especially the new models as they are so capable. And safety is really where we should focus our attention at the moment. As about AI landscape, we'll go with 5 levels of adoption. I will tell about the products that are mostly used in, I would say, tech community at the moment. Little bit about prompting, like a craft, and a bit about adoption, and a little tiny homework that we will discuss together, and you will think about what you want to make, what you want to build, and how your journey will be evolving. What we will not do here. I will not give you any playbooks how to do things. I will not give you list of skills that you would want to copy. I encourage that you experiment, and I would not want you to feel overwhelmed if you are more on this beginner side. I want you to feel encouraged and to try things and go and take with your own pace without hurry. That's why it's 8 weeks, because it could be like a week or 2 weeks, but I prefer it to be sort of slower, even if the FOMO and the pace of AI domain is so fast, it's crazy. Everyone is like scared, and we always feel really weird because we feel like we're lagging behind all the time. Everyone, even if people try things like in a day after the release, it's kind of a long time. Feels like a long time, and a week feels like forever. And also, what I want you to sort of lead with is that there are really no like AI experts, AI guru. There are people who use AI longer. They spent more hours with it, and they are sharing what they actually discovered. And it's all about exploration. Hey, we are actually doing it. I really love this quote by Sam Altman, even if Sam Altman is someone who we can think of as a visionary, but maybe we're not clear about where it all is going concerning what's happening right now in different domains. But I really like this idea that AI these days is empowering people, and mostly it is empowering people who are non-technical, especially who are non-technical. I would say that this is the time for non-technical people because, like in my case, I graduated from a Bachelor of Arts in Translation, so I'm totally not technical, but I sort of went in reverse. So I started with totally non-technical, and then as I got in, and now it's getting so technical as AI and Cloud Code is making me, use terminal that I was really scared of before, because now I will I will share the tab what I've actually done because as my audio wasn't working, I know that it happened before and nothing literally helped. Not restarting, nothing. I mean, just logging everything out and restarting all the Mac, and it could get me into updating stuff. So I asked AA right away, and it gave me actually how to restart the audio with terminal, and it worked, and it's so awesome. I would never be able to do it without AI actually. um, that's why I'm very, 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 very inspired by it, honestly. um, okay, let's go further. This one is really by one of the greatest minds in AI. It's Andrei Karpathy, and he says that the coolest programming language is English, and that is true. But I would say that it's partially true because sometimes people say that okay, we're all programmers now. Well, not really. If you do not have um, this very, very solid idea, what's happening underneath, you will still hit a wall. What I mean by hitting a wall, AI is generating code, and it is generating code out of the sort of database that it already has. And creating anything new makes the AI to sort of synthesize something new, and AI is not tailored for it, and we will talk about it later. And what we should still realize, I will tell you the story, maybe I can tell it now. I really like Every Ink. It is a media product. Mm, it is sort of the news that tell us about AI for like founders and all the tech people. And they have, apart from media company, they also have products. For example, they have a really cool, I will also show it later, really cool transcribing tool. It's called Monologue. It's similar to Whisperflow. And um, their latest product, they have around six, I guess, and their latest product was vibe coded by their founder. He's a developer, but what he said during the presentation is that he had no idea what's underneath whatsoever. And they released it like 2 weeks ago. And in the beginning, it was fine, but in a day, it totally broke. At scale, it totally broke, and he had no idea how to fix it. What he did, he had to hire a really, really senior developer who is into this fixing the AI slop or whatever, and he had to dig into it, and it took him around a day to go through the code and find the error. This is actually the reality right now. As the product is getting bigger and more complicated, and if more people are coming like to this every product, because the product is really successful, it went viral. This is when it broke, and unfortunately, at the moment, without help of a human being, but I shouldn't say probably unfortunately, maybe fortunately, human beings are still relevant. That's actually great news for us, still great news. We don't know for how long, but anyways, that's the reality right now. We are builders, but with certain limitations. Okay, let's go next. What I want you to leave today with is this idea and metaphor that AI and LLMs are really sort of like calculators, but for words. Or there is another metaphor that I really like is that um, AI and like the mind of a human being, it's like a bird and a plane. So technically, the plane is flying, but we know that it's totally, completely different. And as for the definition, what we mean by LLMs. L for large, like it's a huge scale. It's like all the knowledge of the world, like a huge library. Like L, another L, second one is language. It means that it's text, like articles, conversations, code, books, everything. And M for models. So this is basically a system that predicts the next token. That's why it's like a calculator for words, not something that is thinking, not something that is, alive. We we should try, to get rid of this idea for us and for our kids, and especially for those who are not technical, because it's really hard for some people who are especially not technical, to separate aliveness and AI, especially for kids. So really, AI doesn't think. It doesn't read our mind. To get our answers, we need to give it as much context as we can. So let's go forward. As for the GPT, this is actually the system that was invented in Google, and this is the architecture, right? Generative means that it is producing new text, images, and code, not looking it up somewhere. And what we mean by producing is that um, you send your prompt or your sort of intent, and then it is looking. Okay, so we are asked, what's the capital of France? And as soon as it is a predictive model, it is understanding that, okay, in most cases that I could have seen statistically, Paris is the capital of France. That might be the answer. That's sort of the chain of thought of AI that is happening underneath. And pre-trained. So it means that it is pre-trained before, so it doesn't really have the idea of what's happening at the moment without access to internet. So basically, AI that exists right now, it might have the end date, like this cutout data, probably like a month ago. So they collected data for, or they've been collecting data for like maybe 3 months, and now there's a cutout. So they do not know what's happening today if they do not ask and go to internet. And as for transformer, as I've already said, that there was this paper in 2017 by Google engineers, and it really changed everything. But actually, curious thing is that these days, many, I guess even DeepMind CEO says that actually AI and generative AI was released too fast, and it was too raw. It was not that good at the moment, and it happened because of this competitive race between Anthropic and OpenAI, and there's more sort of bad than good in it, because AI is still not that trustworthy, and we will talk about this one in a moment as well. As for a little bit of a vocabulary, we will need most of the time tokens, right? Tokens are sort of a part of a word, roughly 3, 4 characters, or most part of any word that can be out there. And tokens are these days reason to either brag or cry over. People often say, oh, I've burned like 2 millions of tokens this month or whatever. And very often they produce something really not valuable. And about this one, we will also talk about later. The context window is really important because it's sort of this working memory of AI The bigger it is, the more context in the working memory can be kept. But this is a tricky part because sometimes you can hear that the more context is out there, the better the output. It's not always true. If the context is crap, you are very likely to get crap as the output. So it really depends. It's more convenient, of course, if you are um, doing these, if you're making or building like huge products that need lots of context, but this is not always, like a black and white thing in general. But context windows are growing for all the products all the time, and this is actually really useful for us these days. And models, I really like this quote by a Reddit user who is a developer that AI is a tool, not a superior programmer. And here we can also say that AI is really good at things like coding. Why? Because it is a structured task. Because code is really patterned, it is logical, it is verifiable, so it's either 0 or 1, right? And natural language is very ambiguous. One word can have so many meanings and can be used in so many cases or cannot be used in so many cases. That's why actually AI is so good at writing code and not that good actually at writing text, even if people overusing AI for writing text so often. Um, yeah, I actually have this string for you in the deck. I will send you the slide deck, and you can copy it, and you can look up the usage that you have if you already use Claude Code. I think it can be also really useful and something to be curious about. Um, One of the most important part is really that LLMs have their limitations. And this phrase, LLMs don't know what they don't know, is really um, about the concept that we already discussed. LLMs have data underneath, and this data is collected and it is trained on it, and there is nothing more to it. So anything new is sort of impossible. If you wanna create, like Karpathy mentioned, that when he was coding a completely new application, the AI usage was not that valuable for him because AI doesn't know how to do new things. And other limitations are hallucinations, of course, like fabricated citations. That is why you need to check everything. And that is why experts and senior professionals may not see AI as that useful in some cases because they know a lot about the domain, and AI can really invent things. It's unpredictable. How you can check that it's unpredictable? Really easy. You have one question and you ask it 2 times. Whether you ask it 2 times in one thread, or you ask it in two separate chats, you will see that it gives you different answer. It might be similar, it might be not similar at all. And this is why for now, we shouldn't rely on AI as of April 2026 with our health normally, because recent research shows that AI in sort of half of cases provides really, really wrong recommendations in case of emergency. So we should go to doctors. Why it's happening? Because as AI has uh, this sort of data underneath, only an expert, like a doctor, if we think about health, might use the LLM to better effect by asking the right questions, by adding the right context. And we, like, general audience are really unable to do it like this. And AI is not doing any clinical interviews, and it is not thinking. That's what we should focus on when we are using it for health. And another part is overconfidence. AI is trained to be really confident, knowing that that's the right answer. That's how it's working. And that's also a problem, and especially about health, especially with health, especially for teenagers, especially for seniors. That is why part of actually going deeper into AI as you are learning it is teaching it to our friends, to our family, to our friends, and really close people. So that's really good one if you wanna dig deeper when you explain things. It really helps. And the main advice with anything connected to AI is to start now. Start now, try it out, experiment, because as I have said, the possibilities, the opportunities are really endless. You can actually build almost anything, even before AI. When I talked to my developers and I said, "Can we do it?" Senior developers would always say, "Yes, we can." But there's always a but. We need lots of resources. We need maybe lots of code, of time, of inference, of tokens these days, anything. But seeing that anything is possible, and more importantly, defining what we should do and why we should do it, why we should build it, matters even more. It always mattered, but these days, that's what matters because anyone can build anything with Claude Code. And now my favorite part about privacy layers. Um, For me, I have this sort of distinction that we could use as well. That we have this client, developer, and open source sort of division to look at privacy, for us to easier look at privacy, meaning that we can act as clients. So when we open ChatGPT or Claude and just type in something, that's when we are customers, when we are clients. And our chats are normally used to train AI. Anthropic and OpenAI and Google with free tires they are always using data for training. With paid tire, you can choose not to use your data to train. That's for you to decide. That's for you to look up. Yeah, that's the sort of convenient part. Why it matters? Because labs are racing. They are competing to reach AGI, this general intelligence, general intelligence. By default, by definition, this is AI that is better than a human being in most of tasks. And for now, we haven't reached it, but they still need to raise money, and they believe that the more data they get in, that's why they're scraping internet and everything. That's why they're buying stuff. They're buying content from Reddit. Now this is sort of an additional stream of monetization for any products, because on Reddit people generate really useful content and then they sort of sell and license using this content for training purposes. And what matters is that how it could go wrong. Um, in US, there are cases when Meta handed messages in the court, and people got punished for doing things. And not always it was fair. Sometimes they find out later that it was a mistake. And that is why we always should think and consider that AI is overconfident and is making mistakes. Second layer is developer. So this is when we use API, when we use Claude Code, when we use Cursor or Replit or any tools, meaning that we are sending our prompt, our context to server somewhere, to sort of another computer, a computer that is owned by Anthropic, and raw these data. This data is sent basically on their computers, sort of computers, is sent to AI. AI is processing it, and then they send us the answers, send us back the answers. They promise that they are not training their models on our data and that they are not saving it. We can believe it or not. Most people believe it. That's totally fine. That's how it works. Probably it is so. And what I offer you to do is to play with this one. Uh, to play with this one, to start using AI of choice, especially Claude Code maybe these days. But what could go wrong here is that there are leaks and hacks, and especially with new models that seem very powerful, but that makes them really unsafe for us for many, many reasons. And this is where things could go wrong. And that's why we should care and maybe, just maybe, like an idea to think about the third layer of privacy. And this is open source. Um, Open source are the models that are created by independent labs, like models by Meta, like models by Chinese providers, and new one that was released last week, Gemma by Google is available, and I will offer you a homework later on to try and run it on your laptop. It is really convenient now. It is free, actually. You are running your model on your laptop for free, and you can get really nice answers because models are really powerful, even if they are open source. Of course, um, models by OpenAI and Anthropic are these state of art. They are called like state of art models. Open source is not there yet, but these can be trained afterwards if you are making and building products. And another part is for so many tasks, we do not need so much compute. We do not need so much power, but we can switch to free open source models. This is something to consider, and probably and hopefully open source models will get better with time, and we will see. As for now, just to little bit of relaxation, I offer that you check your privacy settings for your AI. I will also check it because um funny. Can you see my screen now? I think that it turned off somehow. No, you don't. Yeah, I will reshare it again. Um, a moment. So some time ago, during a very similar workshop, someone asked me, "How do I check it?" And I started looking for setting, and I thought, okay, I probably should have switched it off. I was sure about it, but then I checked and I didn't. That was so weird because I I actually was so sure that I switched it off. Yeah, now it's switched off like help improve Claude, but it was on. It was so surprising, and I was really happy that someone asked me, and I stopped sharing my data. Sure. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Terminal works a bit differently because terminal works with API. What you are sending in the terminal, it's sent to API. So this is sort of the second layer. Like this is this developer access. And chat works like this, web view that you are working on the platform. So basically, they can use actually your data even if you like turn it on or turn it off. And it is this client thing when you work on a separate platform. And when you use Claude Code uses API. So what do you type in? They send it to Claude. They send you back the answers, and you get it back. So it's totally developer side, and they swear that they are not saving or storing it. But also, it is not encrypted because the safest products out there, like Signal Messenger, if you might have heard about it, they are completely encrypted and all the messages are encrypted, and they often say to Meta that they write that WhatsApp messages are encrypted, but in reality, they are not. Only Signal is as safe as possible. Okay, so did I answer your question? Okay, good, good. Okay, I hope that you were not sending your data and it's fine and you checked it. Okay, so let's go to the craft prompting. Just few words because these days the models are so powerful that prompting is sort of less important because in the early days of AI, it was much more important how you sort of build this um, chain of thought, how you direct AI mattered much more. Right now, prompting is sort of a really basic skill that is like Microsoft Excel or Word usage. It is something very basic, I would say. And the best part is that you can ask AI to create a prompt for you. So I wouldn't maybe take that much attention to it. But basically what prompting is communication. People talk a lot about that these days asking the right question is what matters, actually. And I think that it's true for any teamwork because AI is a co-worker these days. Before, I was using this intern intern metaphor. But I would say that now it's a coworker because before it was an intern because it was smart, but it was very clumsy and inexperienced. But these days, agents are really like coworkers to us, and how we speak with them matters really. But what matters even more is context. Context is king. This is why using Claude Code or Cowork, when you use AI and you show AI all of your context, all your documentation, maybe design guidelines, anything. And the curious part about prompting is that the output may change depending on model. Because the recent example of Anthropic with Opus 4.6 and Opus 4.7 is that 4.6 was like sort of less tight than 4.7 because 4.7 requires really specific prompting and it is doing what you are really asking because 4.6 was like sort of helping you in reading between the lines if you haven't written anything, it could sort of assume, and 4.6 is not. It is really directional. And there's sort of rhyme in models these days because One of the model can be more vague, like 4.6. Another one is more direct, like 4.7. It seems like labs are playing around with it, and we'll see how it's going to work. All right, so what I suggest is that we make a little practice. I suggest that you open some of your finished tasks with Claude or OpenAI, and I will send to the chat. The prompt that I want you to use here. This is a really, really cool thing that I use all the time these days. It is working so good. And the curious part is that this workflow offers that um, I ask AI to rate it from 1 to 100, and then it gives me like something like 85. And then it says, you don't have to try to push to 90 or 95. Like 85 is a good score. And this is actually what I also think. It's really curious how it's working, how it knows some stuff. Okay. Oh, okay. I've noticed the message by Daria. So I'll send you the first one and tell me about result. What do you think? The result that it's going to give you. And the cool part, it is not if it is not 90 or 85, I would say like my current code recommendations are very often really, really useful actually. That's the second part. And actually knowing and when we're working with AI, asking this sort of tricky questions is what works. For example, with resume, I really like the prompts that I used, like get me 10 reasons why this company would not hire me for this position with all the context. It gives you really cool answers. Because if you ask it just to review this CV for this position, it's good, but not as good as if you are asking it to dig deeper. Okay, tell me what's happening. What do you think about this one? Okay, 78. Nice one. All right. And okay, try to send what kind of improvements it's offering. Do you agree with the improvements? What do you think about them? Because actually, human beings are still in the driver's seat, and AI, of course, can make suggestions and stuff, but remembering that we are the brain and we are the thinking part of the equation is what really matters. Not to outsource like too much or maybe everything, and think about what you want to leave for yourself. And the cognitive decline these days is really obvious because we use AI, overuse AI. Maybe not we specifically, people are actually overusing AI. They use it too much. Okay, Luba, did you ask it to improve? What do you think? Ah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Uh-huh, okay, okay. That's curious. Are there any useful tips? Okay, tell me later. Tell me later then. All right. Okay, so I think we'll go. We will move on. Alrighty. So the main advice, one and only advice, is to play around and really actually perceive it like play, because we people, adult people, probably often do not play that much, and we think about this like work and responsibility and stuff, but perceiving it like play changes the game. Because recently I was using Claude really late, and I was sitting on the couch and my husband was playing with his PlayStation and I was playing with Cloud Code, and I was like, okay, I found really my kind of game that was actually funny, and that's cool for me. I like it. He likes his way and I like my way. And reframing it like this really, really actually helps. But it's also addictive, but you know, this is life. So I want to cite a really great example, and I will sort of um, talk a lot about this one because I think that it's really useful. Because, like anything, this is about habits, and our habits are trained like muscles, like face fitness for face or other muscles. It is a muscle, and training it helps us go up this sort of ladder or pyramid. This is the concept by Peter Yang, and he is a really, really experienced product person. He works at Roblox, and he has a really super useful channel on YouTube because it is very practical. What he does is walkthroughs and um, like workflows with designers from Anthropic that are actually building Claude Code or Claude Cowork, and they are sharing their screens and show how they're working. That's amazing, actually. I really love it. All the opportunities that YouTube and sort of access to this kind of minds. So 5 levels of AI. Basically, most of the people are in this chat GPT, back and forth answering. The next level is AI for daily work. And AI for daily work is basically about meetings, about voice, and about projects. Because meetings is context. We are recording meetings. We can ask questions. As we save these meetings, we can use them. For example, we record a meeting, then we use the MCP of our project management system, like Linear. It is reading the transcript and then it is routined, it is scheduled to create actionable tasks. And this is how our workflow is changing. And this is how it's getting easier, I would say. Voice is a gem, definitely, because you can record what you think, your ideas along the way, when you walk, when you do anything else, and ideas very often come not during meetings. Actually, good ideas rarely come up during meetings. They come up maybe walking somewhere, and then you can just record it. It's really, really useful. And the projects are about context, just same as folders for Claude Code. A little bit about this AI landscape that I promised for this session is like the tools that I really like these days. There's Granola for meetings, Read AI, and Otter. They are commonly used, and storing them and having them as context, maybe for the future, is really important because very often we don't remember what we talked about. We do not remember ideas or thoughts, and then we can go and just check them out again. It's really, really useful. And that's the context that should be stored. And that's sort of low-hanging fruit that everyone should be using at the moment. And this one about voice is actually when I created the slide, I was thinking like, okay, mouth is faster than hands, and this is true, but there's a trick because um, mouth is really fast, but it is a different type of thinking when we just talk and when we write or type. Our brain is working in three different modes. Because when we write with our hands, like we don't do anymore almost, um, different parts of the brain are connecting and they are working, and it's different type of thinking. So I would say that having it all really matters. Writing, typing, and audio. But audio is a total gem because really you can record your meetings, you can just talk it out loud when you have ideas, or sometimes I use granola or monologue when I'm listening to a YouTube video, for example, and I really like some idea, so I go back, I turn on recording, and I know that I have this like a tiny part, this idea in my monologue. I use monologue by Avery. I really like it. So it's super useful. And projects. Context that is out there. We can use Claude projects or ChatGPT projects, does really matter. Or Notebook LM. It's really actually really cool because they have a really huge context window, and Google Google's models are really great as well. And for different purposes of, for example, like analyzing LinkedIn posts that can be downloaded from LinkedIn, and you can put all of your posts for a long time, analyze it, and use it like examples, like the best ones, examples for your future writing or brainstorming or ideas. So I would recommend trying out Notebook LM for sure. And the easy breezy part that you can really try maybe today or tomorrow are artifacts. These are really super awesome. I will share one of my artifacts. Okay, hold on a moment. I will show you how it works because it's like an easy way of understanding what can be done if you haven't tried Claude Code yet. You can actually start with this one. For example, I created this one some time ago. Fun fact that in the beginning it looked, share this tab as well. It looked like this. Really black design, not a fit for my presentation or stuff. But a few days ago, this gem of a product came out. Claude design is like, I don't know, for a non-designer, for a product person, it's totally addictive. I spent all of my extra usage dollars that Claude gifted some time ago, like actually $50 for, I don't know, like 2 hours. But it was so good. They have a really tight limit now. But what I created the whole design system, and I had maybe like two paragraphs of text. What it created everything like color spacing. It asked me how to do it. it's a research preview. It's a really new product. But what it's producing is like it's producing the icon that I already had in my style. It can be round, it can be square. Then I used it to create the template for my slides. So I took my old decks that do not look really good. I actually want to show you it because when I look at these decks now, I'm like, oh my God, they are so awful. They are so not AI time. Because I really think that it's not what truly matters, like the design. That's how I created all my decks in the last 3 years. But this one, I really wanted it to look pretty. So I used Claude and the result is gorgeous. Like this one, that's a glossary that was black, and this is a glossary for non-technical people explaining like API. Like API is a front door, like with analogies, like it's a restaurant and you place an order. And if you're not technical, it's really hard to grasp it all around, like the server, the cloud, the GPU token, like everything that is about AI. And I plan to add some more. And what is cool is that this artifact, where is it? This artifact can actually be, I will share another. It can be, it has a code, so you could put it on your website and it's gonna be updating on your website. You can embed it into your website. So it is gorgeous. These days, Cloud Code allows you to create this one, but it being less technical and having less time, actually. If you don't have a lot of time to think about, using artifacts is super, super useful for decks, for sharing with your team, for things like this one. Yeah, let's go back to the deck. Let's go back to the deck. Here it is. So prototyping is our third level. So we go from general to common usage. Prototyping is you can ship anything really fast. Like with Lovable, it's so easy. They even have their free tier. They have like 5 credits per day, and you can create like a okay-ish landing page, real quick. But with Claude Design changes everything for me. The only disadvantage is the cost right now because they have a really this awful weekly limit. And I have this actually assumption that this idea that Claude Code for Anthropic is like probably like Sora for OpenAI because OpenAI closed Sora because closed was this video generator and people came in and it was a tool for engagement. They had fun, created some videos, but it was burning so much cash because it's video. And I feel like for Claude for Anthropic, it could also be really expensive because actually anything AI is funded by venture capital these days. Everything that we do costs much more than we pay for it right now. We'll see how it works. Hopefully, tech people will invent new chips or more efficient ways with energy and with everything. Hopefully, it's going to happen because it's really powerful technology. And of course, I'd love it to be accessible to everyone. Like with this new model, it is so cool by Anthropic that they are not releasing it to everyone. It's actually outrageous. I'm very disappointed about this one. But we'll see. Hopefully, it's marketing and they will show it to everyone real quick. Another one that I wanted to mention is really Google AI Studio. What it's really cool at is copying UI. We should mind the copyright here, but you just screenshot any product and it is recreating it. It is so good. I tried it with my own application. It is recreating the colors, the patterns, the paddings, anything. So if you need something real quick to show it to the team, and you don't have maybe connected the code base of your own application, because with Claude Design you can bring in Figma file and use your real UI to create prototypes. It's really convenient, and then connect it to Claude Code. But if you don't have access to it, Google AI Studio is super cool for this one. Also, they have a really huge limit for usage, but it's a free tier, and they train their models on your data if you use a free tier. But someone has to pay for it, right? Apps, of course, next level, building applications. Really, Cloud Code is really cool. I'm using this quote by Gary Marcus because he's a scientist and a leading voice in AI, and he is an AI skeptic. And this is a quote from 2 weeks ago, I guess. He wrote about Cloud Code, how really great it is. And he's normally an sort of critic of Sam Altman and all the AI optimists of these days, and they argue in Congress about all the regulations and stuff normally. But this one is what even Gary Marcus acknowledges, and not using it is, I don't know, shouldn't be the case. And also beyond the prototype, if we speak about apps, Lovable also can build decent, super easy apps like CRMs, dashboards that you can share with your team. They can have sign in and stuff. Quite okay. As for Replit, Replit is also good for building chatbots, small services in production. And some time ago, they even had their agent build iOS applications. That's actually really hard. I haven't read it myself because I wanted to connect Cloud Code to our code base. This is what we're working now with my developer, and that's quite a way to do it. And another tool is Base 44. Mm, it's a more, I would say, more advanced version of Lovable. You can also try it. But as I as I wrote real software, but Cloud Code really can do anything, and we will look into it in a few sessions. And this highest level, I'm writing about Cloud Code because I am, as a non-technical person, I am not using OpenClaw. Why? Because security engineers say that it is not safe, whatever the setup you're making. That's like my choice. Maybe at some point I will try it on a separate laptop, probably at some point, but for now, for me, for now, it's a no. But you can create sort of similar setup with Cloud Code or with Cloud Cowork, because now they have routines and you can schedule tasks and they can run independently in the cloud, not necessarily when the laptop is on and terminal like it was before. And about personal agents, you can connect the tools that you have like Gmail, calendars, data, anything. You can create you can create skills that are so awesome. We will definitely have a separate long conversation about these ones, because this is really about productizing our knowledge. Because skills is like routine that you are already doing and you have all the plan and you can delegate it to AI. And Claude MD is also an important notion. These are like the house rules. So how Claude should act, behave, and probably explain what it is doing along the way. Like for me, I'm this privacy, I wouldn't say freak, but okay, privacy nerd. I ask all the time, like, what's the privacy thing? And this should be in the Claude MD actually. Here, I will share with you as well. Here's the Claude MD by Megan Choi. She is design lead for Claude Code and Cowork. She shared it on YouTube as well. That's how she's teaching her agent to sort of talk to her, right? She is non-technical and she is using the actual code base. What is meant by actual code base? It means that there's code base on GitHub, and Megan has a separate branch, like a so we imagine like a tree, right? And there's a separate branch of the tree, and she's sitting on this tree and she's committing some changes to an actual code base, and developer then checks it out and releases it. She also says that yes, she did broke things and it's okay, but it didn't break Claude, obviously. Or maybe it did. We don't know because Claude is off sometimes more than I would love to. Anyways, that's how product development works now. Sort of everyone is an active participant. Yeah, and about building skills, about using Claude Code, there is this sort of a rule or something that if something is done more than 2 times, it can be a skill. You should automate it. This is really personal stuff. Everyone should decide for themselves. That is why I say that there is no playbooks. You know your workflow, you know how you work, and everyone works differently. We're no machines, right? That is why no one can tell you what to automate or how to automate. That is why it is highly recommended not to use like someone's skills, right away, but try to build yours. First of them will be really crappy. They will hit the wall, they will not work, but this is how you learn by doing. That's what really matters in AI, most of all, actually. Uh, If we think what to start with, we can look really at AI labs and at use cases that they are doing. The easiest one is deep research, right? All labs have deep research. It works really cool. So if you are a mobile product manager, obviously you most likely have your own process for market research. I haven't actually made a skill, but I have sort of a step-by-step process from a really, really experienced mobile product manager for market research, and I wanna invite him over and create a skill with him. Maybe I guess that his experience will be even cooler, and if not, I will make it on my own. But doing this one is what really, really it should be almost 100% valuable for you, your product, and so on. Another case is audio mode, anything about audio, about sales, about automating the sort of first line and sales and qualifying and stuff, and design and code, of course, uh, as I already mentioned, code is what works best. And with Opus 4.7, many developers say that it's like the best model for writing code. So using it these days is what works. And design, of course, Lovable is really successful. And Claude Design, as I already mentioned, is really good. And like Google AI Studio, they are also really good at creating at creating UIs that are really good. And what is cool about design, I really like this idea. AI is really trying to create and give you really average answers, especially when you do not provide any context. And in design, this is kind of good because AI uses common patterns. Because as a designer, I would want to create something of my own, creative, different. And AI doesn't care. They just, create something familiar, similar to anyone else. Okay, whatever. The main thing is that people will understand it. And that's the main thing about design, to provide value. All right, then. So, okay. My suggestion for you is to decide what you want to do in the upcoming week for yourself. We could rely on On this five levels pyramid, if you want to, let me go full screen. Yeah, you can think of what you could do, maybe to move to or upper something, or stay on the level that you are at, but try something new. And what it could be like trying out artifacts if you haven't, for example, or trying. I'm selling this quad design, but I'm really excited about it. I can't help it. It just comes out naturally. So sorry about that. But anyways, maybe try quad design because they have the limit, but you can really do it if you want. If you choose the task that is really burning for you now, and try to um, go full on AI mindset and think of something that you could do till our next meeting on Wednesday. So what do you think? Any ideas, thoughts? If you could share, I would love to hear what you think. What could be your choice? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it actually, what's the real cool thing? What I'm doing with Quad Design now is I save my existing pages in HTML and I give it to Claude Design, and then it can recreate it. But you can copy not your design, you can copy anyone's design that you like and give it a whole mood board, and see just what happens. Yeah, right, right. That's cool. I know. Yeah. You can load it. You can load it in HTML, or you can copy the code, give it to Claude Design, it will recreate it, or you can copy it and tell exactly what you are saying. I really like, the recommendation of Ellie K. Miller, who was big on AI. She says that complain, complain to AI, like what you don't like get me a brief or analyze my email, or like my email is so stuck, so many inbox unreads or something. This one should work pretty well, I guess. Yeah, I'm sorry, I so agree about Lovable because for some tasks it's good, but for landing page, I feel like it's not about lovable, but about me not being able to describe it properly. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, it's same for me actually. Same for me. Maybe the ones that you liked were made by designers because they know how to, you know, yeah, describe it properly. Yeah, that's why we need really cool AIs to to do it for us. Okay, that sounds good. If anyone else, maybe you have any questions, and if not now, shoot it on Telegram. I'll be happy to answer, or if you have any feedback, you can send it to the chat or to me personally. I'll be happy actually to hear what you think. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, hey. Yeah, these days actually I do not make prompts on my own. What I can do is I have this notebook LM project and it has a whole bunch of context about prompting. So it knows so sort of the playbook and I ask it to create a prompt. But I wouldn't say that it works really good. The easiest way is to complain to AI what I want, what are the constraints, what's the context, and ask it to create a prompt. It's really good now, actually, like a new chat, describe the problem and say, I need you to create a prompt for this, that, and that. And the more context you give, the better it will get. The context is the second topic that we are tackling. Actually, it's one of the most important ones. So we'll talk about this later. But the easy answer, actually, AI mindset is about asking AI about anything, whether it's a prompt or, how to design stuff. Always ask AI is the first recipe. When I mentioned this course, I guess, on the chat, where the first course that I took in AI, how to build a chatbot with ChatGPT. And the one of the first, I guess, first things that our instructor, who is the CEO of Every, Dan, he said, okay, if you have a problem, just say to yourself, I'm not gonna panic, I will ask AI. And this phrase, it's like it's somewhere in my background, like all the time. Maybe at some point I was in this, situation when I asked AI too much, but that's how AI mindset works. You are sort of, sometimes you are using it too much, then you don't use it at all. But these days, guess it's almost impossible because it got so good. Agents got really good from December 2025, and it's time. It's time for us to build stuff that we want. Like, did I answer your question, Vlad? Okay. Okay then. So I think we'll call it a day for today, and I'll see you next Wednesday. And I'll be happy to see how everything works for you, what you've tried. If you need any advice or something, if you wanna maybe try Claude Code already, I can also give you some recommendations, although it's sort of later in the curriculum, but playing is also good. Trying it out, at least downloading. Because for non-techies, This downloading part seems to be a tricky one because you need to ask AI all the time because it gets these errors like what to do with this terminal thing with this black screen. But actually, on the black screen, desktop version of Anthropic with code is really good now. So terminal is now really a must these days. Okay, then. Thank you very much for coming and spending this hour and a half with me today, and I'll see you next week. Okay, bye-bye.